He was awake before he opened his eyes, because something was wrong. There was no air, no sun, no earth, just cold metal under his back and a strange rhythm in the distance. A sound no living thing should ever make. Welcome to HFY Starkviller, where humanity doesn't just survive the stars, we shake the galaxy to its core. If you're ready for a new story of defiance, hope, and rebellion, hit that like button and prepare for liftoff. John Carson had always known how to take a punch. Life had thrown plenty. Busted knuckles, failed dreams, war tours, and long nights with no one waiting at home. But this wasn't a punch. This was something else entirely. His eyes blinked open to a sterile glow overhead. No ceiling. Just light. The walls were smooth, seamless. The air, filtered, sterile, wrong. He tried to sit up, couldn't. His wrists were locked to the sides of a cold, narrow slab. His legs strapped down. He wasn't in a hospital. He was in a cage. A shadow moved beyond the glass, tall, thin, smooth-skinned. Not human, not even close, 6 fingers on one hand. A bulbous, pulsing node where a mouth should be. 2 eyes completely black, like polished obsidian, watched him with zero emotion. It made notes, not with hands, but with light. Symbols danced through the air like electricity. The thing moved on. Another shadow followed. Then another. John's breath quickened. His instinct screamed, "This is real. You were taken. You're not on Earth anymore." Then a door hissed open. The air changed, and in stepped something different. She was smaller than the others. Still alien, yes, silver skin, elongated limbs, but her movements were slower. Gentler. Her eyes weren't black. They were pale violet, flickering like candlelight. She looked at John, tilted her head. Then, for the first time in what felt like forever, he heard a voice, inside his mind. "You feel fear, not pain, not confusion. Just fear. Interesting." John stared at her. He wanted to speak, yell, curse, demand answers, but his throat was dry. He rasped a whisper. "Who the hell are you?" Her expression didn't change. But something flickered across her face. A shadow of uncertainty. "Designation Curry. Observation Team 17. You're Specimen 9. He laughed. It came out broken. "Figures." She blinked. "You find this humorous?" "Only because I've got no clue what the hell is happening. And the only thing I can do is laugh or lose my mind." Kari tilted her head again. Curious response. Behind her, a taller Tyrax stepped in, the Overseer. Sharp-edged armor, movements like a machine. Kari stepped back quickly. The Overseer made no sound. It raised a thin silver rod, tapped a crystal console. A new pain bloomed in John's side. He screamed, not just from pain, but from how efficient it was. No blood, no wound. But it felt like something had stabbed his nerves directly. The Overseer nodded, satisfied, and left. Kari stayed behind. She said nothing, but her eyes lingered. John met her gaze. "Enjoy the show?" She didn't respond. But that night, or whatever passed for night in this place, the pain faded, and the lights dimmed. And for the first time since his capture, John saw her silhouette reappear outside his cell. Kari. She didn't speak. She just stood there, watching. John didn't sleep. Whatever passed for night in this place didn't come with darkness, just a shift in the ceiling's color, from sterile white to muted blue. The room stayed silent, empty. The hum of machines beneath him never stopped. Neither did the tight ache in his side from the Overseer's rod. He stared at the spot where Kari had stood. She had watched him. Not coldly, not like the others. Something else. Curiosity? Regret? He had seen enough eyes in war to tell the difference. Hers had a question buried inside them, maybe even a few answers. The next day, if that word meant anything here, she came back. No guards, no Overseer, just her. John tensed. Here to poke the animal again? No. Kari said softly, to listen. That caught him off guard. You know you people have a weird way of showing compassion, he muttered. You cut me open yesterday. That was not compassion, she said plainly. It was observation. Today is different. She stepped closer, ignoring the invisible barrier. Her voice was low, unsure. You laughed. Yesterday, in pain. Why? He blinked. Because it made me feel human. It's the one thing you can't take from me. Kari stared. Then, is that strength? He looked her straight in the eyes. No, it's survival. 3 more rotations passed. More tests, more scans. More silence from the other Tyrax. John stopped counting bruises. He stopped talking to himself, but Kari kept coming back. Each time, she stayed longer, asked more questions. About Earth, about emotion, about pain. She wasn't interrogating, she was learning. And he learned back. The Tyrax had no families, no music, no memories worth keeping. They evolved as a collective. Everything was for the continuum, their I-God mind. Emotions were considered data noise, something to purge. Kari was different. She wasn't born. She was designed. A prototype with an unstable experimental empathy cluster. Her creation was nearly scrapped. John realized something. She wasn't studying him. She was trying to understand herself. You ever seen a sunset? He asked her once. She paused. Simulated ones, never on a planetary surface. They're different, make you feel like time's standing still. Like the world ends and begins again in the same breath. She tilted her head. That sounds beautiful. It is, he said. That's why we fight so damn hard to stay alive. It happened on the 7th rotation. A power flicker. Just a blink. But in that moment, John noticed it. A shimmer in the left wall. Like a ripple. Kari froze. That's not possible. What is it? She hesitated. A door. Not meant to be visible to prisoners. John grinned. Blood dried on his lip. Looks like someone forgot to lock the basement. Kari turned away, too fast. You knew about it. I wasn't supposed to tell you. But you did. I didn't. You showed up without guards. You kept coming back. You want me to find a way out, don't you? Kari didn't answer. But she didn't deny it either. That night, John began testing the restraint locks. Not physically, they were too advanced, but behaviorally. Every time the eye scanned him, he twitched. Faked muscle spasms, unstable vitals. On the 3rd try, the system released his wrist restraint early to calibrate. Mistake. He jammed a thin sliver of hardened ration plate into the release track. Next scan, the lock failed to close. He kept his hand still. Kari came in and saw. You shouldn't. You don't really want me to stop, she hesitated. For the first time, visibly shaken. If they catch you, they'll kill me anyway. Her voice dropped. I could die too. John looked her dead in the eyes. Then help me live. Kari brought him a piece of fruit. It wasn't earth-grown. The skin shimmered like mercury, and it pulsed faintly as she placed it on the tray. John looked at her like she'd handed him a grenade. You poisoned it? She blinked. No. Testing it on me? No. He narrowed his eyes. Then why? Kari looked away, uncomfortable. I've seen you eat nothing but nutrient paste for 9 cycles. You called it alien prison oatmeal. You hated it. That's not reason enough. Kari's voice dropped to a whisper. You were kind to me. That silenced him. He stared at the fruit for a moment. Then he ate it. It was sweet, like peaches. I want to show you something, she said. She led him to the simulation chamber, a sterile dome lined with holographic walls. With a wave of her hand, a landscape bloomed into existence. Rolling green hills, scattered trees, warm golden light. Where is this? John whispered. Earth, based on your descriptions. I reconstructed it from memory and fragments in the AI database. A breeze moved the leaves. A sun hovered low in the sky. John swallowed. For a moment, he forgot the walls. I had to know, Kari said. Why you still fought to survive. Even in here. He turned to her, eyes glassy. This, he said. This is why. It's not the fighting that makes us human. It's what we're fighting for. Security doubled the next day. The overseer had reviewed logs. Questions were being asked. Kari's visits were being watched. John knew the clock was ticking. He couldn't wait. So he made a deal. A prison 2 levels down. Species K-17, the Dorn. Feral, parasitic, terrifying. One of them spoke broken human standard. Called himself Grush. I break door. You free me, we go. Not we, John said. You run distraction. I go with her. Grush clicked his jaws. Dangerous, cost high. John pointed to his throat. You think I care? The deal was struck. A code spike hidden in Kari's tool console was transferred. Grush would override the restraints for 42 seconds. No more. Kari wasn't told. Yet, it began in silence. A flicker. John's wrist restraints popped open. He rolled silently. Slipped the code drive Kari had dropped by accident, or by intention, into the chamber control. Alarms exploded across the wing. Doors opened. Grush lunged from his cell and tore into a Tyrax guard. Others followed, a storm of fangs and chaos. Kari entered mid-panic. Saw John loose, hands bloody, sprinting toward the unknown corridor. You lied to me, she cried. I didn't lie, he shouted. I just didn't wait for permission. She paused, and then, to his shock, sprinted after him. Together, they ran. They reached the AI core. It pulsed in a vat of shimmering black fluid, cables the size of trees pumping data in every direction. Kari slid to the console. I can't shut it down. It'll trigger a kill signal across the ship. We don't need to shut it down, John said. We need to confuse it. How? He pointed to the interface. Feed it emotion. The thing doesn't understand chaos, fear, loyalty, love. It'll reject a logical input. That's the point. He reached for the port. Kari stopped him. If you do this, it might burn your neural core. You could lose speech, memory, yourself. He stared into her eyes. I'd rather die myself than die them. Kari's lips parted. Then she nodded. He slammed the cable into his spine. It felt like drowning in fire. Memories, his father's hand on his shoulder, the sound of ocean waves, a girl he once loved in high school, his dog's bark, gunfire, blood, joy, grief, silence, rage, all of it flooded the AI. The AI pulsed. Then screamed. Sirens went wild. The ship tilted. Systems collapsed. Kari pulled him out just before his heart flatlined. John dropped to the floor, gasping. You did it, she whispered. You scrambled it. He looked up through bleary eyes. That's what being human feels like. Above them, alarms wailed. But for the first time, the doors weren't locked. They were open. The corridors pulsed with red light. Tyrax security drones flew overhead, erratic from eye interference. Some collided with walls. Others fired blindly into the dark. Kari dragged John down a maintenance shaft. You're bleeding internally, she said. You can't keep going. John coughed, wiped his mouth. Not the worst hangover I've had. They reached a hangar airlock sealed. Can you open it? He asked. Kari touched the panel. It's code-locked. I'd need a high-level key. Suddenly, a shadow stepped from the hallway. John froze. It was Jiren, another human, one John thought was dead. Captured months ago. Broken. Silent. Jiren held a Tyrax clearance ring. I escaped during your chaos, he rasped. Found this on a corpse. John took a step forward. You're alive. But Jiren didn't smile. His voice was flat. I'm not here to help you escape. Kari tensed. What? I'm staying, Jiren said. They're offering me a place. Not as a prisoner, as an observer. They think I'm useful. You traitorous son of a... Jiren lifted a stunner. Walk away, John. You can still run. John stepped forward anyway, so did Kari. Jiren fired. Kari threw herself in the way. The bolt slammed into Kari's chest. She dropped. "No!" John screamed, catching her as she fell. Jiren hesitated, just for a second, and John used it. He lunged, tackled him to the ground, drove a fist into his jaw hard enough to crack bone. The stunner skittered across the floor. "I trusted you," John snarled. Jiren's bloody lips twitched. "That was your mistake." John didn't kill him, but he left him there. Kari was still breathing, barely. Her chest flickered with pale energy. She wasn't dead. Not yet. He lifted her into his arms. "Hang on, damn it. You're not dying after everything we've been through." Her lips moved. "I made a choice," she whispered. "You chose the wrong side." She gave a weak smile. "No, I chose you." John reached the hangar. One shuttle remained, sleek black, with Terex glyphs carved into its skin. He placed Kari in the co-pilot seat. Blood from her wound was pooling, her fingers twitching like sparking wires. The hangar shields pulsed. Enemy units swarmed the decks below. "No more running," John muttered. He activated the ship's manual controls. "I don't know how to fly this thing," he muttered. "But I know how to crash it." Kari chuckled weakly. "That's very human of you." The ship lifted, dodged a blast from a pursuing drone. John glanced at the nav map. There, a blue dot, blinking in the void. A relay satellite. "If we hit that," he said, "we can transmit your data. Proof of everything they've done." She gripped his hand. "Then let's make it count." They reached the relay. But the Tyrax weren't giving up. A war cruiser blocked their path, charging its plasma core. Seconds left. "I can beam your files," John said, locking the ship on course. "But the signal won't finish unless one of us stays behind to keep the comms open." Kari stared at him. He stared back. "No," she whispered, "not you. I'm not letting you die for me." "Then die with me," she said. He paused, then nodded. Together, they locked hands and activated the transmission. The Tyrax ship fired. Their shuttle exploded in silence, a bloom of defiance, but not before the signal went through. 2 solar cycles later, across 6 systems, the transmission played. On every black market relay, hidden terminal, and back-channel satellite, the data appeared. Images, reports, a dying race of prisoners, Tyrax cruelty. Kari's internal logs, John's memory dump, the truth. A single sentence closed the file. "They tried to understand what made us human. They should have feared what we'd become when we had nothing left to lose." It was signed, Kari and John, unknown coordinates, final transmission. Across the galaxy, millions heard it. And for the first time, the Tyrax weren't feared. They were hunted. They thought it was a hoax. The Tyrax high mind dismissed the transmission. Said it was a digital virus, fabricated emotion, human dramatics. But it wasn't. In the labor colonies of Gelther 3, prisoners rioted. On the mining moons of Vextran, stolen copies of the John Kari file passed hand to hand, screen to screen. Even among the Tyrax subcastes, whispers grew. Some of their own began to feel. And in the ruins of a black site orbiting a collapsed star, something stirred. Not human. Not fully Tyrax. A prototype unit Kari had hidden, an unfinished clone. One she'd been building in secret, stored with a memory shard. Her final insurance. And when the unit awoke, it spoke 2 words, "I remember." The clone called herself Kari too. She escaped the lab before the high mind could destroy her. Hunted alone, she followed the scattered human signals left in the relay burst. She learned. She listened. She grew. Soon, other defectors joined her. A cybernetic soldier from Vex Prime. A rogue that to sing. A lizard hybrid merchant who sold weapons to both sides. They called themselves the Seed. They weren't an army. They were an idea. A human idea. The Tyrax responded with brutal force. Entire stations vaporized, civilian colonies blacklisted. But the Seed didn't fight with ships, they fought with truth. Kari 2 hacked emotion filters across Tyrax educational channels. Children began to ask questions, teachers stopped answering. Overseers began to vanish. And in one final act of rebellion, the Seed hijacked a Tyrax war broadcast to transmit a recorded message. John Carson's voice, not AI-generated, real, preserved from the neural burst. You want to know what makes us dangerous? It's not our rage. It's not our weapons. It's that we don't stop. Not when we're beaten. Not when we're bleeding. We crawl. We fight. And if we have to, we teach you how to dream. Years passed. A forgotten probe, long drifting near Saturn, picked up a signal. The Kari 2 Seed fleet, orbiting in stealth, had reached Sol. Earth had changed, united under a single planetary council. They had heard the legend. Now they saw the proof. An envoy was launched. When Earth's ambassador met Kari 2 on the deck of her flagship, the synthetic looked up at the blue and green marble through glass eyes. I never saw it, she whispered. But I remember loving it, the ambassador nodded. Let's make sure the galaxy sees it too. The Tyrax Empire collapsed, not from war, but from within. Entire sectors declared independence. The continuum shut down. The last overseers vanished into myth. A monument was erected on the neutral moon of Sindel 5, where the Treaty of Sentience was signed. A human man and a silver-skinned woman, standing side by side, one reaching upward, one holding a flame. On the base was carved, "They took one of us, we gave them all of us." And they learned the hard way, one of us was human. Thank you for listening to One of Us Was Human, an original HFY story from Startfiller. If this story made you feel something, if it made you proud to be human, then share it. Like, subscribe, and comment below what moment hit you the hardest. And remember, in every dark corner of the galaxy, there's a voice that still whispers one truth. Humanity never backs down.